Good morning, everyone. So, every business owner is a salesperson. Um, how's your belief right now? Are you stating to yourself, I'm a salesperson, Paula, not, I'm a business owner, not a salesperson. That might kill my business altogether. Well, guess what, guys? These principles are easy to reach. We're not talking about something that's so aggressive that you want to let go of that altogether. And I want to really share some ideas with you to make more into this and make more money at the end of the day. So today on we're going to have a fireside chat with David Cohen. We're going to discuss the whys and the hows. So hey, let's go. Good morning, everyone. So, Paula Madison Sierra, host of 10 at 10 and founder of Power Marketing SF here in San Francisco. This morning, my guest is David Cohen, founder and CEO of Silicon Valley Sales Group, sales enabler, love that by the way, executive coach, and speaker. Good morning, sir. Thanks for being on the show today.
Good morning, Paula. Thank you for having me.
So welcome, welcome. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I love your outfit. I especially like that necklace.
Thank you so much. We haven't had much of a parade or anything like that in the last 2 years, so it'll be exciting to watch all these things on television. I wish I was there celebrating a little bit more actively, but let's get straight to our topic today because I think it's an interesting one, and folks who've watched the show know that this is a favorite topic of mine because being on the marketing side, I see it a lot. And Paula, it's like I don't know why this would be such a big thing. You see it a lot more and not in the format that you guys expect. So I love having sales experts like yourself on, David, to discuss this.
Well, I
Um,
appreciate that. And Paula, if you think about yourself as a small business owner, you're not just on the marketing side, you're out there selling every day as well.
Absolutely. So, David, tell me, how did you get from zero to David Cohen's sales enabler?
Well, I'll try to keep it short, but my career actually started in education. And when I was 23, my mother gave me a book on goal setting, and it said, "Where do you want to be when you're 65?" And so I did that exercise. And make a long story short, I wanted to own my own training company and be able to travel the world and train people.
I love
And
that.
from there, I went to Japan, lived in Japan, got into sales and selling, and had a 25-year career. And about 5 years ago, I turned the corner. I bought the Santa franchise here in Silicon Valley. And now I am close to 65, not there yet, but I own my own training company and I teach sales and sales management.
Let me ask you, do you speak the language? Do you speak Japanese?
I do. I speak Japanese as well.
Did not know that about you. Do you speak any other languages? Not like
I
two
also speak
languages.
Italian, so a
Really?
little interesting combination there.
I know it isn't. It's two different ends of the spectrum, I think, right? Fantastic. But even though I just noticed caught myself saying it, do you speak any other? Like two isn't like already a wonderful thing, right? Speak any other, you know?
Well, I also speak the language of sales, and hopefully we can help your audience with that today.
Very nicely done, sir. Very nicely done. Let's go straight into it then. You heard me in the intro. Is how much of this is belief versus process?
It's really both. In Sandler, we talk about the success triangle. And if you think about the three corners of the success triangle, there's attitude, which is really your beliefs and your attitude about yourself, your self-confidence, your ability to do what you need to do. But it's also about your company and your market and your industry. Do you have confidence that you're selling into a strong marketplace? But the other two aspects of the triangle, so there's attitude, there's behavior, which is the things that you have to do every day to be successful. And that we come down to, that's also part of your process. And finally, there's technique. How good are you at doing the behaviors that you're doing? And if you have 2 out of the 3 down, you're not going to be successful. So we really focus on all 3 aspects.
Okay. So, because one of the things that I encounter quite a bit is that fear around doing it. But one of the things I'm hearing here is if you have if you know how to do something, you're not that scared to do it. Basically, that's what it boils down to.
Absolutely. For so many small business owners and professionals, B2B professionals as well, they they don't have a process. They've never really thought through what a sales process is or what it would look like. And that adds to that discomfort in selling it. It adds to that lack of confidence because they get in the middle of a conversation, they don't know where to go next.
Why do you think so many people have such a like weird ideas around where do they get this from?
I think when any of us are in a buying situation, we are automatically defensive. If
Mm,
you think about yourself and you want to buy a sofa, what do? You probably scan the internet. You might get the Sunday papers, especially around the holidays. We all know Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day weekend. Every furniture store has a sale.
yeah.
So you do a lot of research. You go to the store. You walk into the store. A salesperson comes up to you, and what's the first thing you're likely to say? He says, "Can I help you?" And you say,
No thanks. I'm just looking. I didn't even realize it until I thought about it just now. I guess we all do that, right?
"Exactly." And so,
It's just a
as
little
buyers,
American.
we're all defensive. And we have our guard up when we're talking to a salesperson. So when we're put into that selling role, we don't want to sound like that aggressive, pushy, the used car salesman, right? The person who might manipulate someone into making a sale. And that's, I think, a big misconception for people who really don't understand that sales is really just a conversation. And it's just a conversation to where if I can build enough trust in our relationship, I can break down your defensive barriers a little bit. And then it's about understanding what's your problem or challenge or issue. And let's talk about that openly and honestly. And then let me talk about whether I have a fix for that or not. And if I don't, I'll tell you that. If I do, we can talk about what that might be. So it's just really getting down to a conversation. It's not trying to persuade or manipulate.
Well, let's roll into the money part of this because do you think most business owners realize that they're actually a 100% commission only salesperson for the business?
That's a great question, Paula. I ask that to everyone who approaches me and says they're thinking of starting their own business. That's the first thing. That's the first question I ask. When did you decide to become a 100% commission only salesperson? But that's the truth of the matter. Like I said, you're as a small business owner, you have to sell every day as well as fulfill the contracts and provide the marketing services you provide. And
Absolutely.
so I think what happens with a lot of business owners is they sell because they have to, but too many of them don't really invest in learning the skill to sell because selling is truly a skill that can be learned and developed.
I mean, well, we're can we talk about process then? Because we're realizing that yes, this may be based on our mindsets as well. So it sounds like number one, get your mindset right. Get your mindset right around money. You can't want to increase money and have conflicts about doing it, getting out there and doing the process. It doesn't sound like those two exist well together. What other ideas do you have after that? So we've gotten our heads right. I'm like, I want money. I'm monitoring it. Now I need to take action, though.
Yeah.
What are some of the action steps that I need to do next?
So it really depends on the business that you have and kind of your selling motion. I sell to a lot of people who they sell in B2B, so business to business sales, or some of them are business to consumer, but it might be a larger like a SaaS platform or even professionals like lawyers or accountants or architects who are selling to consumers. But really, I say where Sandler can be effective is if there's a conversation involved in the sale. And so if you think about that, the process for selling, and Sandler, we teach both a process and a methodology. The process are what steps you have to take to get to a sale. And the first step, as I said, it's about bonding and rapport. It's about how do you establish trust early in the relationship. The next step is about talking about those issues or challenges, what we call pain, because people make buying decisions emotionally. So
Mm,
when you get them into talking about what they're frustrated about, what they're anxious about, what concerns them, they're feeling that pain and they'll open up about it. Does that make sense?
no, absolutely. Absolutely, because you're trying to diagnose, right? As opposed to just writing a prescription, yeah?
Exactly. We need to be a doctor, right? We need to ask good questions. We're not. I'll tell you the thing that I work hardest about with my early clients or clients when they first come to me is prospects or customers don't care about you. They don't care about your business. They don't care about your product. They don't care about your service, except to the extent that you can help them.
How can you help me? Yeah.
So for the first step is let me talk to you, let me ask you questions about your situation, your business. What are you struggling with? What are the concerns that you have? Why are you even talking to someone like me? So the first step is showing my expertise by asking good questions around, in my case, sales and selling, what they're doing, what that's working and what's not working.
Okay. I
So
love that.
that's step number one.
Step
Step
number
number two is you talked about it, money. So we want to go from we understand the problem. If we don't have a solution, we say, sorry, I don't have a solution for you, and we end the conversation there. If we both agree that I might have a solution, then we talk about money. And
okay.
do you have enough to afford? And are you willing and able to spend the money to change the current situation, to make a change to fix that problem? And again, that's part of what we call qualifying. If you don't have enough money to buy my product or service, then it's not going to be a good deal for either of us. And then the final step in the process is decision making. How are you going to make that decision? Who's involved? What are the criteria that you'll use? And if you can get through all three steps of that qualification process, we say qualify stringently to close easily.
Well, you know something, I just thought of something. Great processes going through it. And I see this quite a bit. I have a client now. Shouldn't there be some other steps for afterwards as well? Because we've spoken a lot about developing a relationship. I don't have a relationship with you by going out with you, David, for a glass of wine, then I never see you again. You know, uh, what else happens after that?
So, if I understand your question correctly, after we get through the qualification process,
Yeah, how do I nurture this relationship? Do I stay in touch? You know, because again, remember some of the business owners listening out, they're already jittery about this. They already have issues about sales. Am I disturbing this person? I don't want to stress them out. This is not the way I do my business. There's like a whole bunch of negations. Really more excuses not to pick up the phone. You know, um, why should they take the next step, really?
well, it again, it really comes down to why are they holding themselves back? One of the things that's amazing that I've learned in doing what I do is that we as humans have between 50 and 70,000 thoughts per day. And unfortunately, 80% of those thoughts are all negative.
Oh gosh.
So that comes back to how do you change your beliefs? If you truly want to be a business owner and you truly want to be successful, then you've got to start to focus on what are those activities that you can do to make your business successful. And I have one client who said she's a CEO of a very successful company, and she went through my program because she was having a hard time hiring and keeping on salespeople.
Mm,
And I said, first, you have to learn to sell yourself. You have to develop a process because if you can't prove that someone can make money selling this product or service, you're never going to be able to hire high quality salespeople.
mm.
So she went through my program, and 2 years later, she said to me, she said, I have a completely different attitude around sales. She says, I enjoy selling because it's like a competition. It's like, can I get this person engaged? Can I get this person to buy my product or service? And if not, that's okay, because there are 10 other people out there that I can go and talk to and be successful with.
Absolutely. So you kind of led perfectly into one of my last questions for you, which is when is a right time to multiply that effort that you're talking about? So really develop your own process so that you can, reuse it and reuse it and refine it, right? When is a good time to multiply that effort and hire a salesperson or
Yeah.
two or three?
So I would say there's two elements to the answer to that. Number one is, have you gone out and proven and created a sales process that's successful and repeatable, that you can do it yourself? But then number two, you also have to think, am I hiring people because I don't like selling? And therefore I want to, I call it outsource selling to a VP of sales or to a salesperson, right? And because they're professional salespeople, they're going to come in and have a process that's going to work. They might or might not. The thing of hiring salespeople is that their process is only based on the last company where they worked. And that process might or might not work in your company. So, number one, are you hiring for the right reasons? And number two, is it the right time to hire a salesperson? And if you do have a sales process that you've worked out, you've proven it, then you want to make sure that you're hiring the right salespeople. And I'll tell you, in terms of hiring, I work with a lot of my clients on hiring. One of the things that companies don't use is data. So there's competency-based assessments that you can be using, because the number one success factor in sales is an ambition and drive. But how do you interview for that?
Actually, one of my favorites that I'm still trying to figure out what the metrics are on it. Good to Great Company. One of the things that they really point to is discipline, in everyone, your vendors, your employees. And that's a word that struck me since I've read the book. Actually, this morning I start rereading it as well. And it's, again, it came back again. I'm like, I need to really, because it's a hard one, right? I mean, how do you really ask? Because everyone's going to describe themselves that way. Are they really though? What are the metrics there?
And Paula, you make a great point, especially when you're hiring salespeople. They're good at talking,
Yes.
right? So if you don't use like a competency type of assessment, psychometric testing, to really understand what's the raw material that you have to work with vis-a-vis ambition and drive, takes initiative, vis-a-vis questioning and driving for close. Those are all things that psychological testing can bring out, but employers aren't using it as they should today.
So let me ask you a question, because I know you guys do the DISC assessment. Is this one of the things that you suggest that business owners do as they're making this decision to expand their sales team as well?
Absolutely. And it's not just DISC. So there's DISC assessment, which is behavioral, and then there's competency assessment, which is the psychometric testing. But absolutely, I recommend it for all my clients. We do a pre-hire assessment, so we get an idea of the candidate before we even talk with them.
Can I ask you a question though? I see where it would really match, because the salespeople are the drivers for revenue, right? Would you suggest it for other employees as well?
Absolutely. I've used it across companies in all fields: marketing, product management, engineering. It's just another way to use data to help you. It's not the end all and be all of the decision, but it helps you come to a better decision than without it.
I love that. So, of course, it's all great points here in discussion. And knowing you and I, David, we can go for a while, But any final points that you want to share with folks as they're structuring this, as they're getting ready? Actually, there's a question that you hit upon as we were going through. What does the right time look like? What does that look like for a person? Um, yeah, what is the right time for a business owner to say, okay, that's it. I need to buckle down here and get some other people beside myself. I need to grow the business.
Yeah. So I think the right time again is, have you proven that you can go out and sell and make money with that product or service? And do you have a process that you can teach other people? And it's not enough just to say, do what I do. It's you have to sit down and coach them through that process.
Okay.
And if you don't have that process, or you're not confident in your ability to articulate it, that's when you might call someone like me or one of my other colleagues in Sandler who can help you out to define what that process is, what it looks like, and how you can train other people so you can get a scalable and a repeatable model.
Perfect, perfect. I want to make sure that folks heard that part of it, because I think it's so important. How can people stay in touch with you? Because there's a lot of sage and advice here that I think people could really benefit from. How do they stay connected to you?
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. So, number one, I do publish on LinkedIn. So, anybody who's interested, connect with me on LinkedIn. And then I do monthly free training seminars. So, in fact, this month on Wednesday, the 23rd, I'll be talking about communication styles. So, we'll get a little bit into DISC, and we'll also get a little bit into the psychology of sales and selling. So, I invite anyone to go to my website, which is SVSG, Silicon Valley Sales Group, svsg.sandler.com, and they can register for those events there.
For perfect. And I'll also have a link below as well so that you guys will have at that as well. David, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate your time here. And, again, if you guys want to connect with David, as he stated, click onto LinkedIn, get in and connect with him. Go to his website. There's a whole resource section with a ton of information in it. So utilize that as well. And again, I will definitely have the link to the free training so you can check that out. So please reach out to him. And of course, bear in mind, marketing and sales, it's not, we're friends. We're really tightly knit cousins right now. And, I can't do any of the things that I do if you haven't prepared that part of it. I can only bring you people to the door, but someone's got to convert them. You have to have those processes waiting and set up. So really, it's part of the whole bundle here. You can't just have the gorgeous website. The gorgeous website isn't your end all be all. And at the end of the day, having that contact with them, as you stated, which I love that point, David, that human contact is a real essential portion. And if you can do that, then you're really locking in some clients for a long time. So I wanted to share a quote with you today by Mark Roberge. It's no longer about interrupting, pitching, and closing. It's about listening, diagnosing, and prescribing. And it's been that way for a long time. So get away, throw out that old-fashioned idea of the used car salesman. Used car lots don't even work that way that much anymore. Well, I'm sure there's some of them still out there, but remember that really this is your new sales process, and it's been that way for a long time. So get on the bus with us, reach out to David. So my continued mission. Yes, listen, I am not like, if I get one of those big icons to interview, definitely I'm interviewing them as well. But this is my mission statement, is to introduce you to these phenomenal everyday local experts who are phenomenal in their area, have massive amounts of expertise to share with you. As business owners, we know what we know, we know what we don't know, and this is about sharing that information with each other to help up level during this crazy, crazy time. I air every Thursday at 10 a.m. on LinkedIn. This is a live show, folks. So please reach out, share with a friend. Thank you so much for always participating and reaching out on the chat. And again, David, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. And I'm going to be at the 23rd as well. I'm putting it on the calendar. So that will be great to get a chance.
I'll get you using DISC.
I know, right? And so I was telling him that I've been fighting on this I have no reason why,
All right.
Anyway,
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it.
take care. Bye, everyone.